Steam has over 80,000 games. I believe that a quarter of those 80,000 games have received negative reviews. Today, I will be playing a game with negative reviews. However, I have found the 5 most common negative reviews that Steam users across the board complain about the issues they had with the game. I will be figuring out if the developers have fixed the issues and if the game is worth checking out or still deserves its negative reviews. Today, we're going to be playing Backrooms No Return Prologue, a multiplayer version of the popular Backrooms game. If you don't know what the Backrooms game is, it's basically a game about exploring seemingly endless liminal spaces of interconnected rooms and hallways, often with terrifying entities lurking within. The gameplay revolves around trying to survive, escape, and maintain sanity while navigating this unnerving environment. Alright guys, let's begin and find out why this game got so much heat that a Steam user wanted their money back even though the game is free to play.
The wolf is most specialized for cooperative game hunting, as demonstrated by its physical adaptations to tackling large prey.
Police department urgently needs your help to locate Jake, a 25-year-old male who has gone missing.
Hello? I'll wait for you in the alley in 5 minutes.
That was probably one of the vaguest intros I have ever seen in my life. I start off in what appeared to be my house, and as I began to explore it, I noticed something about the kitchen's design that made me think the person who designed this kitchen either had never seen the inside of a house before, or is a complete genius for creating one of the most effective setups to complete all your kitchen and laundry tasks in the best possible way. Anyways, after I was done exploring, I decided to leave my weirdly set up house and go to a questionable alleyway, where I got into the back of an even more questionable van and rode into the night. I arrived in what appeared to be a locker room. I picked up my trusty flashlight and explored a facility that seemed to be super high tech, eventually entering a pod-like room that teleported me into the back rooms. I'm sure by now you guys may have noticed this computer data reader thingamabob that I got up here. So let me introduce the second negative review on the list. I'll be covering the first negative review at the end of the gameplay. I need to play the whole game first to get the full result. Anyways, the second negative review on the list was low frame rate, 20 frames per second. Game is horribly unoptimized. Even with the settings as low as possible, I still can barely get like 20 frames per second. I saw tons of people claiming the frame would drop as low as 20 frames per second, making it look like a PlayStation 1 game. I set up a frames per second reader to monitor the game's performance during the entire gameplay session. Also, to make sure I was pushing the game to its limits, I set the game to the epic settings, being the highest settings in the game. So with this, I'll find out at the end if the frame issues was fixed or not. And so I went on my way. After exploring many empty, liminal, spooky rooms, I came across this particular door. Next to it, I found a camera and saw this. This would present the third negative review on the list. People in the comments were roasting how incredibly easy the puzzles were in this game. Yo, this game is really something. Me and my homie were trying to put the camera away for 50 damn light years, and even the door code, I just guessed it because it was too damn stupid. I don't know where to start. In my honest opinion, the game was too easy. I did all the small tests and puzzles way too easy. Only interactivity is holding W in 2 puzzles, which somehow both involve just taking educated guesses on the solution. And well, they weren't wrong about it. The first puzzle I encountered was a 5-digit code which I was able to figure out within 30 seconds. It was a simple sound-based puzzle, and after messing around with it for a couple of seconds, I was able to open it. While exploring the room I had just opened, I came across a computer, and when I interacted with it, I found the second puzzle, which was another 5-digit code. After interacting with the computer, I found myself trapped, unable to escape the puzzle screen. I pressed every button on my keyboard, but nothing happened, leaving me stuck. I wanted to back out of the screen to look around, thinking the number code would be spread around the room and needed to be found, but I couldn't. I noticed I had 5 attempts. I figured I could fail the 5 attempts so I could back out of the puzzle and try and search for the room. But as I attempted to fail by putting in random numbers, I solved the puzzle in 4 attempts. I honestly think if I punched my keyboard, I could have solved it in 2 attempts. I solved whatever this puzzle was. So it seems the dev did not attempt to change the difficulty of the puzzles, failing to fix the problem players were complaining about. Looks like an L for the dev. After all that, I went on my way. After taking some stairs that led me down into a dark stairwell, setting a horror mood of sorts for the first time and forcing me to run through a dark hallway because it was kinda spooky, I came across a 3-hole wall that would lead me into an unforeseen horror. Well, not really, but it kind of spooked me, and this is where the 4th negative review on the list came into play. Gamers recognize backroom games as games where horror vibes and great jump scares are to be expected. However, players agreed that it failed to deliver and claimed it lacked a horror element. There were 0 jump scares, and the water is 10 out of 10. Only 1 jump scare with the lowest graphics I've ever seen. Please don't install, it's a waste of your lifetime. This game is not worth 20 minutes of your life. You would think that this horror game would have a lot of jump scares, but no, this whole game there's only 1 jump scare and it isn't even scary. Low-key, I would rather be trapped in a room with Diddy than play this trash ass games. Negative 1,000 out of 10. That guy needs maybe a little help if he wants to hang out with P. Diddy rather than play this 20-minute game. After the encounter with what appeared to be a naked man that jumped at me, that was it. The monster was never to be seen, and nothing happened afterward. Also, it was the only horror moment the game offered throughout the whole demo, or prologue. This confirmed that the negative review deserved to remain a negative review. After figuring out this weird maze, that was the end of the prologue. This left me feeling disappointed with what I had just played, if I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Alright, the 1st and 5th negative reviews on my list, which I decided to save for last, are that the game crashed frequently. Let's clear out the first one. I did not experience the game crashing, not even once, so it looks like the dev fixed the crashing issue, so that's a W for the dev. Side note, to clear the 2nd negative review on the list, the game also stayed like 99% of the time at 60 frames per second, so that's another W for the dev. They fixed the frame issue. At least for my computer, it didn't drop to 20 frames per second, so you know, computers are different, but I didn't experience that, so I think that's a W for the dev. And the 5th and last negative review that honestly left me a little confused was that people were complaining about how short the game was. So short, bro. Bruh, the shortest horror game I've ever played with the cheapest jump scare ever. Even Roblox makes better horror games than this. According to the internet, in a quick search on Google, it states that a prologue can be anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes, so I mean the game was true to its title. You know, it's called, you know, Backrooms No Escape Prologue, so, you know, it was true to its title. Alright, so after all that, you know, it seems like the developers were able to address half of the issues. Now the devs just need to make the puzzles a little bit harder, you know, make it a little bit more challenging, and make it scarier, and the game will maybe appeal to more people. But that's what I think about the game. If you guys have played it and you guys experienced anything, let me know, leave a comment down below. But I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye bye, take care.